What is up, YouTube? This is Doc here, Docky Style Gaming, and I am back at it again with another Exoprimal video for you all today. And we have a whole lot to get into that I'm not even going to be able to fit into one video, so I will have multiple planned for y'all. But thanks to all of the new news that we've been getting from the Summer Games Fest, all of the new showcases, more specifically the Capcom showcase, we got a brand new look at all things Exoprimal. We got new trailers, new infos, 15 minutes worth of gameplay, new Exo reveals, and so much more. And I'm going to be breaking all of that down for you here on this channel. So let's get into Capcom's essentially Dino Crisis spiritual successor. Dino Crisis 1's co-designer and producer of Dino Crisis 2 and 3 are working on this new IP. So in a sense, it is somewhat of a Dino Crisis successor, because they did clarify that the game actually has no connections to Dino Crisis, but come on. Look at the game. But in this video, we're going to be breaking down everything we got from the Capcom Showcase presentation, from the new trailer, the new Exos, game types, beta signups, and more. So, even though this is a very long intro, like I always say, without wasting any more of y'all's time, let's hop straight into this info and straight into this breakdown. So the first thing we got to look at from this showcase was a brand new trailer that showed off some of the brand new game modes for the first time. Dinosaur Coal, VTOL Defense, Data Key Security, Omega Charge, Energy Tanker, as well as one of the Carnage modules, along with some PvE and PvP game modes as well. There was a lot of different unique environments that we got to look at, and some of the Exos in action, as well as 2 brand new Exos being added to the roster. And honestly, that trailer, which of course will be playing in the background, looks crazily chaotic, but in a good way. Something else the presentation went over briefly as well was a bit of the story, or at least the synopsis. And it seems like the AI, or artificial intelligence known as Leviathan, is unleashing dinos on the Earth, and we essentially have to stop them, as if this is one big game, or as the trailer described it, war game, to see if we have what it takes to stop him, or if it has what it takes to kill humanity. Essentially, our mission is to make sure that the dinos don't roam free and don't destroy the Earth, while also trying to find a way to stop the Leviathan AI. But speaking of the story, we did get into a mini deep dive with the main game mode or story mode, which is called Dino Survival. They said it's a team-based action game mode where you're in 2 teams of 5 and you must race to complete objectives. The team that completes all the objectives the fastest obviously wins. And they gave us a list of some of the objectives and a brief teaser on what each of them are. The first of which being Dinosaur Coal, where they said you will have to defeat a certain species of dinosaurs. Another game mode was VTOL Defense, where you have to protect a grounded aircraft from a dinosaur onslaught. Then another game mode was the Data Key Security, which is a team-based escort mission, which I will actually go into a lot more detail on when I go over the gameplay breakdown in a separate video, because it is pretty unique and it has some pretty cool PvP elements to that game mode. Another game mode they went over was called Omega Charge, where you have to destroy targets with a massive Omega Hammer. And then the last one they teased was Energy Taker, which is pretty much what it sounds like. It's you compete with a team to collect the most energy. Now, on top of all of these game modes and the regular dinosaurs you'll be fighting, they also mentioned that there's going to be Neo dinosaurs as well, that are honestly a bit more interesting, but again, I'll go over those in the gameplay breakdown because we get to see them in action. And these dinos have some pretty interesting mechanics and abilities to them as well. Now, they did briefly touch on the PvP and PvE aspects, mentioning that there are some modes where you'll face opponents head on and other instances where you'll have to team up, essentially being a full squad of 10 to take on major forces or bigger dino bosses. They also said that in Dino Survival, the mission changes based on players' progression through the game, and that the experience will be different every time you play, even in matches with familiar surroundings and objectives. And honestly, I'm going to hold them to that, because this game looks very promising, and I'm very interested and curious to see how this game's replayability is going to be like. But lastly, wrapping up the Dino Survival mode, they did say that you'll unlock story sequences, rewards, and experience points to level up your exosuits as well. So Dino Survival is essentially the main heart of the game, is what it seems like. Now, who knows what the full end game is going to be like? We haven't seen that yet, but it is pretty interesting that we're seeing so much so soon. especially considering the game doesn't come out till 2023. But now let's move on to what I'm most interested to talk about, which are some of the new exosuits. And in this showcase, we got a look at 2 brand new ones along with some brand new attachments called rigs. Now, the rigs weren't actually mentioned in the video, but they were updated on the site, and we did get to see them in action in the gameplay breakdown, which again, I'll showcase those more in that video, but I will briefly go over each of the 3 rigs that we saw so far. Now, I've done breakdowns on Deadeye, Zephyr, Roadblock, and Witch Doctor, as well as the 3 roles in the game, the Tank, Assault, and Support. So if you want to find out more about those, go check out the first vid or just my Exoprimal playlist. But now these new exos we're taking a look at today, one was actually first seen in the original trailer that we didn't have a name for, but this second one looks like an exo that made a deal with Mephisto to become the Spirit of Vengeance. So let's take a look at that one first, and his name is Barrage, aka Ghost Rider the Exo. But it says Barrage is an assault role exosuit that uses explosives for AoE fire damage, as well as ricochet grenades. And on the site, it says that Barrage excels in close quarter combats where explosives and incendiaries are the most effective. The second exo we got to look at was Vigilant, and they said it is another assault role exo, but it's all about its long range damage with its railgun sniper. And on the Exoprimal website, it said that it is an exosuit with unparalleled long range combat capabilities, and positioning and aiming proficiencies are essential for making the most out of this exosuit. Now, thanks to the gameplay breakdown, we also got a brief look at potentially some more exos that aren't even in the game yet, but we did still see one of them in the very first trailer that we still don't have a name for, which seems to be a flying support type, but I'm sure we'll get more information on that one at a later date. But next, let's move back on to what I mentioned before. The Exoprimal site was updated with a brand new section in the Exosuit tab, and it is for brand new equipment called Rigs. Now it says, rigs are additional pieces of equipment for your exosuits, and rigs grant exosuit additional abilities, but only one may be equipped at a time. Now again, with the gameplay, we did get to see that there were going to be potentially 6 at launch. There might be more, but we at least saw that there were 6, but only 3 of them were selectable. The first one being Cannon, which is an attack rig that fires a massive charged laser. The second rig is called Aid, which is a support rig that fires an energy projectile that produces a small repair field. And the third rig is a maneuverability rig called Catapult that allows your players to perform a quick boost jump in the direction that they're moving. And again, I'll be going over these all more in depth when I actually go over the gameplay breakdown. But now moving on to the last bit of the presentation, it ended with an announcement for a closed network test. Now, I'll leave a link to the signups in the video description, and it's super simple to sign up, and there's going to be multiple network tests as well. They said the first one's going to be on Steam, so PC players, and you must have a Capcom ID account, and then that has to be linked to your Steam account. But again, all of that is very simple to set up, and in the link in the video description, it'll show you how to do all of that if you're interested in getting access to this closed beta. But you already know I've signed up myself, so hopefully I can get my hands on this game pretty soon, because I am very interested now in the potential of this game. So that's all we got in this video. The next one, like I said, is going to be all about breaking down the 15-minute gameplay in its entirety. Getting to see the rigs, the exos in action, along with their abilities and the different game modes as well. It's actually about 30 minutes worth of gameplay because I got footage for both of the teams, so we got to see it from both perspectives as well, and with the multiple of the exos. So yeah, there's a whole lot to get into and a whole lot to break down. But for a game that's coming out next year, like I said, we are getting to see a lot of it, and they're testing it very soon on top of that. So I don't know if this means they're pretty far along in the development or just needing to add some polish to it, but that's generally a good sign and a sign of a potentially smooth release, which generally always means more time for games to work on additional content, updates, whether that may be story modes, new exos, new events, new game modes, new dinos, whatever it might be. I'm just hyped for it because I wasn't expecting this much new info and being able to potentially get our hands on it so soon, with the game still being a year out. But let me know what your thoughts are so far on Exoprimal with all of this new info that we got right now. Are you still on the fence? Do you not like the PvP aspect? Do you not like the PvE aspect? I'm curious to see what all of y'all are thinking, and if this is a game I should continue to cover. So definitely let me know in the comments below. Other than that though, I am going to wrap this one up. So Like I always say, thank you all for watching. Like always, be sure to join the Discord if you haven't. Link to that is in the video description, along with the link to the Twitch channel as well. I stream just about every day and any games I cover on this channel. So if you're not following me on Twitch, I highly recommend you do that as well. Other than that though, I will catch you all in the next one, guys. Thank you all for watching. Again, I'm out of here. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the subs. Peace.